flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. RPtv. Today is Thursday, October 28th, 2021. Last weekend, the Anthony Signorello Youth Center was rededicated and reinvigorated, and hopes are high that it will serve as a center of peace and community life. Callie has that report.
Let's wear the paint off the place. That's the message from Roselle Park Borough Councilman Joseph Signorello Jr. at the rededication of the newly renovated youth center named for his late brother, Anthony Signorello. The Anthony Signorello Youth Center has received $300,000 in improvements, including new rooms, academic spaces, a conference area, gaming centers, and a gymnasium, where the ribbon-cutting ceremony was held this past weekend. Borough and county leaders, in addition to Signorello's family members, were there. I have a complex relationship with this building, said Mayor Joseph Signorello III. The loss of my brother was confusing and upsetting. I was here in 2004 as a child, but now being here as mayor, seeing what these improvements will do for the community for years to come, makes me proud. The youth center is also the headquarters for the Roselle Park Department of Recreation. The Department of Recreation plans to host dances, recreation nights, parents' night out, events, and a dedicated special needs program. It's a good day for Roselle Park, said Business Administrator Andrew Casays. The center is located at 234 Chestnut Street, Roselle Park.
The FDA has finally determined the proper dosage of the COVID vaccine for children. So, with any luck, this could help bring the pandemic to an end. Cooper has the details.
A panel of U.S. health advisors on Tuesday endorsed kid-sized doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, moving the U.S. closer to beginning vaccinations in children ages 5 to 11. A Food and Drug Administration advisory panel voted unanimously with one abstention that the vaccine's benefits in preventing COVID-19 in that age group outweigh any potential risks, including a heart-related side effect that's been very rare in teens and young adults who get a much higher dose. A study of elementary school children found the Pfizer shots are 91% effective at preventing symptoms infection, even though the youngsters received just a third of the dose given to teens and adults. In a preliminary analysis last week, the Food and Drug Administration reviewers said that protection would clearly outweigh the risk of a very rare side effect in almost all scenarios of the pandemic. Now FDA's advisors are combing through that data to see if they agree. If the FDA authorities authorizes the kid-sized doses, there's still another step. Next week, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention will have to decide whether to recommend the shots and which youngsters should get them. While the children are at lower risk of severe COVID-19 than older people, 5 to 11-year-olds still have faced substantial illnesses, including over 8,300 hospitalizations, about a third requiring intensive care, and nearly 100 deaths. FDA vaccine chief Dr. Peter Marks told the advisory panel full-strength shots made by Pfizer and its partner, BioNTech, are recommended for everyone 12 and older, but the pediatricians and many parents are clamoring for protection for younger children. The extra contagious Delta variant has caused an alarming rise in pediatric infections, and families are frustrated with school quarantines and having to say no to sleepovers and other rights of children to keep the virus at bay.
Now it's time for announcements. Roselle Park High School presents Meet the Author. Allison Kimball, author of Strange Gods. Writing workshop with the author followed by Q&A about the publishing process, Friday, October 29th, 12:30 p.m. Student Council's annual Halloween costume contest, Friday, October 29th, 2021. Categories include Scariest, Funniest, Most Original, and Best Group of or Couple. To enter the contest, you must come to room 110 during homeroom to have your picture taken. Seniors can come to room 110 when you arrive during first period. School picture retakes will take place on Friday, October 29th. Art Club, NAHS meeting, every Friday after school at the public library with permission slips. Questions, ask Ms. Scrucho. Chorus Club will be holding its next meeting today after school. Please be advised that the time has changed. The meeting will begin at 4 in the Roselle Park Middle School band room. New members are welcome. Spanish/International Club meets every other Wednesday. Next meeting date is November 3rd after school outside the high school cafeteria. For details, email Ms. Almanzard. An Interact meeting will be held today after school behind the cafeteria. Come and learn what this meeting is about. We will also start planning our first service project and cultural activity. Any questions, see Mr. Fucci in room 1 or James Dolan. Newspaper Club will meet today outside the cafeteria at the picnic tables. No library this week. Stories for the first issue are due. Please submit them as soon as possible. Pumpkin decorating contest reminder. Judging during lunches October 28th and 29th via Google Forms. Complete pumpkins should be presented in the library Thursday, October 28th by 9 a.m. Health Careers Club. Meeting will be held today after school in the library. Any questions, see Ms. Soto. Halloween is just around the corner, and many towns are trying to find ways to balance the fun and the safety. Let's go to Callie for the details.
Westfield's Halloween Parade was just one of the many Halloween events called off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. On Tuesday, the state of New Jersey reported 32 new deaths confirmed due to COVID overnight and 1,211 new cases. The Centers for Disease Control had the pandemic's terrifying real-life consequences in mind when it issued Halloween guidance earlier this month. Everyone, whether you are vaccinated or not, should consider skipping indoor holiday events in favor of outdoor or virtual gatherings, the CDC states. Attending gatherings to celebrate events and holidays increases your risk of getting and spreading COVID-19. The town's nonprofit Special Improvement District, downtown Westfield, is sponsoring a kind of hybrid celebration, the Wicked Westfield Halloween Costume Contest, which invites residents of all ages to email photos of themselves in their costumes to Halloween at westfieldtoday.com through Friday night. The winners will be announced on Sunday on Facebook Live.
Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Respect. It's a way of treating or thinking about something or someone. When you give respect, you get respect back. It's basically a two-way street. It's showing good manners, saying thank you, please, respecting other teams, sports, teachers, your school, parents, peers, anyone really, or anything. Respect means many things. Here's how you can show respect. Recognize that everyone is different. Know empathy is to listen and connect. Self-monitor and think first. Pay attention. Learn something new. Earn trust through actions. Care and cheer for one another. And lastly, treat everyone as an equal. You want to treat others the way you want to be treated, with respect. You don't want anyone to treat you poorly, or not listen to you, not care for you. And neither does anyone want that same action towards you, or that same emotion. So remember, wherever you are, show respect. It's one of our character counts.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and make sure to stay tuned for CNN 10.
Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Welcome to the show. In normal times is a phrase we've used a lot lately. It harkens back to a simpler time, to a world without COVID-19, when the Olympics, for instance, were held on time every 2 years, alternating between the winter and summer games. Well, these ain't normal times. COVID forced the postponement of the 2020 Tokyo Summer Olympics until just a few months ago, and in less than 100 days from now, another international sporting event dawns in Beijing, China. The Winter Games will be held less than a year after their counterpart in Japan, and like Tokyo, Beijing is putting a number of rules in place to try to prevent the spread of coronavirus. It's hard to say whether that worked in Japan. It did manage to successfully host the events, despite the concerns and some calls for the games to be postponed again. In the days before and following the Summer Olympics, Japan saw an increase in COVID cases driven by the highly contagious Delta variant. But they dropped off sharply after a peak in mid to late August, and medical experts just don't know for sure whether hosting the games had an impact on Japan's COVID cases. Now, with the spotlight turning to China, worries are welling up about its own recent increase in cases, despite the fact that an estimated 75% of its population has been fully vaccinated. China has reported 133 new infections in recent days. It's a relatively tiny amount compared to many other countries, but Chinese officials did postpone the Beijing Marathon that was supposed to be held Sunday, and they've increased testing and clamped down on travel. As it gears up for the start of the Winter Olympics on February 4th, China's readiness to prevent COVID is only one of the questions being asked about the communist country.
100 days until China hosts another Olympic Games. This one, like Tokyo, taking place in the midst of the pandemic. But unlike Japan, Chinese officials are preparing for rather extreme containment measures, creating bubble-like atmospheres. Olympic venues in and outside of Beijing will essentially be sealed off. Planners even dedicating specific lines of transportation between the three main competition sites. Only domestic spectators will be allowed, so you'll likely see stands full with mostly Chinese fans. As of now, organizers intend to keep those traveling into the country and those attending the events separated from the rest of us already here in China, so as to keep the virus from spreading during and after the games. This 100-day countdown coming amidst another COVID-19 outbreak here, once again linked to the Delta variant. Targeted lockdowns, travel restrictions, mass testing, strict contact tracing, all of that back in place as daily confirmed case counts are back in the double digits. It may not sound like a lot, but you got to remember, China is sticking with their zero COVID policy, no matter how disruptive it might be to everyday life here. And this outbreak once again calls into question the efficacy of Chinese vaccines, especially considering this recent cluster of cases was first detected among a group of people who had been fully vaccinated. The Games will also be plagued by growing geopolitical pressures, questioning China's human rights record and its cracking down on pro-democracy movements. From Hong Kong to Tibet to Xinjiang to Taiwan, this country faces a range of extremely sensitive issues. Internationally, we have already seen many calls for boycotts. But ahead of the Games, China is trying to push past all of that, showcasing itself as wanting global peace and stability, and as a leader in battling climate change, even promoting these Games as the first Olympics with competition venues fueled 100% by green energy. These 2022 Olympic Games will no doubt highlight China's ability to wow the world with pageantry and performance. They'll deliver on that. But can they change how the world views this rising superpower? David Culver, CNN, Shanghai.
10-second trivia. Which type of storm occurs most commonly between September and April? Hurricane, nor'easter, monsoon, or typhoon? Though they can form at any time, the most common time for nor'easters is during the colder months. And the first one of those of the season has soaked the U.S. Northeast with rain and left hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses in the dark. From Delaware to Maine and all the states in between, officials were reporting flooding, damage, or power outages from the storm. Wind gusts along the coast of Massachusetts yesterday were predicted to be as high as 85 miles per hour. That's the equivalent of a Category 1 hurricane, though the nor'easter only brought gusts this high, not the ongoing winds of a hurricane. Still, experts say this can be more damaging at this time of year because the trees still have most of their leaves. The rain makes them heavier, and the wind can blow them like a sail, causing the trees to bend more and possibly crash down on power lines. This doesn't happen as much through the bare branches in winter. Several northeastern states say the heavy rains have brought flooding, and some police officials say they've had to make more than 12 water rescues during this nor'easter.
A nor'easter occurs within the most crowded coastline of the United States, the Northeast, and they can occur any time of year but are most common between the months of September and April. That's when weather conditions are prime for a nor'easter. You start with a low. It's going to travel from the southeast to the northeast and intensify. Nor'easters are strongest around New England as well as the Canadian maritime provinces. Now we have very warm water in the Gulf of Mexico and all around the coast of Florida. It's going to warm the air above it, and that warm air is going to clash with very cold air coming in from the north. Now nor'easters carry winds out of the northeast at about 58 miles per hour or more. And keep in mind, the wind direction out of the northeast is what defines a nor'easter. It's also going to cause beach erosion as well as coastal flooding and very, very rough ocean conditions. Now, not all nor'easters have snow, but some of the most memorable ones have dumped lots of it.
Can facial recognition technology help speed up security checks at U.S. airports? Some security officials and airlines say yes, and that it could help smooth out the check-in process. But many privacy advocates don't like the idea of a computer recognizing your face serving as your key to get around. There are concerns about identity theft. What if your image is not deleted, or it gets hacked, or it falls into the wrong hands? There are concerns about the use of this technology expanding, being required anytime you get on a plane or go into certain buildings. And sometimes it doesn't work, taking up extra time to have your identity checked the old school way. But for organizations that support the new tech,
for the first time, your next flight could be unlocked by facial recognition technology, starting at bag check, going through security, and all the way to the gate.
Success. You're welcome aboard.
The new partnership between Delta Airlines and the Transportation Security Administration aims to save passengers time as people are flooding back to airports.
And really hopefully reduce stress and increase the speed at which people traverse through the airport.
Delta's Ranjan Goswami showed me how the system works at bag check. He says what typically takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds is now down to 30 seconds. He says the process of verifying your identity at the TSA checkpoint is now down to only 6 seconds.
I think the timing could not be more perfect in many ways, because you're right, more and more regular travelers are coming back to travel.
The trial will start at Delta's busiest hub, at first for those in Delta's frequent flyer program who also have TSA pre-check. Passport and visa photos in a federal database are compared with your live photo. The TSA insists that file is immediately destroyed, upping security from cyber threats and hacks.
We've definitely taken privacy considerations into account the whole way. If somebody does not want to participate, they do not have to opt in and participate. They really have that choice if they want to have the experience.
For 10 out of 10, you know that show Shark Tank? Well, this drone video shows real sharks lurking just beneath surfers and swimmers near San Diego, California. And we're not talking about those friendly nurse sharks or whale sharks. These are great whites. Experts believe they're juveniles, and in these pictures, they leave the humans alone. Shark attacks are reportedly rare in this area, though the people and animals get awfully close. Here's the plan. We won't tell the sharks how sweet or salty people can be, and we'll ask the surfers to keep quiet about shark fin soup and shark skin suits. Yes, some will say we're sharking our duty to be transparent, but that water's transparent enough, and the last thing we need is for either side to get frenzied or fanatical and start making a splash, if you know what I'm saying. We're glad our show's making a splash at William E. Tolman High School. It is located in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It's great to have you watching. I'm Carl Azus.